Good afternoon. How are you diddling? Excellent. Me too. Thank you very much for asking. Welcome to another live episode of Dazed and Confused, my weekly show where I go live as often as I possibly can do to chat to you about social media, about video, and all the stuff that you could be doing for free. Today, we're going to be talking about the fact that, yes, you are most likely going to fail on social media. It's just the way it is. But we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Thank you for joining us. We are live at the moment on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Instagram as well. So hello to you if you've just joined us. If you've got any questions at all about social media, about video, stick them into the comments, whatever platform you're watching on, and they'll come up on my screen or up on my phone, and I'll answer as many of them as I possibly can do during today's live. But if you're watching on the replay, or maybe you're listening to this as audio as a podcast, don't forget you can still email me. My email address is in the section below, and you can just click on that, drop me an email, and ask me any questions you may have that you want answering. And I'll do my best to answer those as well, either in the next live or just like one-to-one on email. Anyway, so first things first, so you know who I am. I'm Simon Scholes. I am the founder and creative director of Perception Studios, and we're an award-winning visual marketing agency, and we help brands and businesses create content that makes them stand out on social media. Now, that could be video, animation, aerial, photography, graphical, all sorts of different types of stuff. But a few years ago, it became really obvious to me that not every brand and business was in a position to spend money on having content created all the time. But we all know consistency is one of the main things when it comes to social media, especially when you're using your mobile phone and that kind of stuff. So I still wanted to help those smaller brands, those smaller businesses, those startups who didn't necessarily have the money to spend on marketing, but really wanted to be creating content on a regular basis. So I went through a process that I'd used myself. I've used it with clients. I'd spoken about it on stage when I'd done keynote speeches. And I took everything that I'd spoken about and written about and turned it into a book and called it How to 9 Times Your Social Media, which is basically how to make content that you've got work harder for you. Now, you can go to an agency like mine or many others out there who will help you create multiple pieces of content every single day, every single week, from taking maybe one video or something like that. And that could be like 10, 20, 30, 40 pieces of content. However, if you don't have the budget for that, how can you make content yourself? So the process takes you through everything from content planning all the way through to podcasting and a whole bunch of stuff that goes on in between as well. So today, like I say, we're going to talk about the fact that you are most likely going to fail on social media, because one thing that almost every brand, every business I know is aiming for, whether they're creating the content themselves or they're getting somebody else to create it for them, they're aiming for that viral piece of content. The amount of times I've been asked when I've gone networking or even by somebody who's approached us to create content for them is, can you make us something viral? And the answer to that is no, we can't. There is no magic formula to creating viral content. And anybody who tells you there is, anybody who sells a course or promises you they can make viral content are talking absolute bullshit. Do not listen to them. They are lying their arse off. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. Viral content just happens. It could be the most horrific video that you've ever seen, and it still go viral and perform better than the nicest video you have ever seen. Don't get me wrong. There are elements that you can put into content, and you can look at what's happening around the world and understand the psyche of people, but you can just never guarantee something's going to go viral. It just doesn't happen that way. You can try and help oil the gears, but you cannot guarantee anything is going to go viral. So that's why I'm a huge advocate of understanding you are going to fail on social media. Not every single post you put out is going to go viral. In fact, the chances are you might never put out a piece of content that goes viral on social media. But, and I want to advocate this completely, you shouldn't be chasing the numbers anyway. They are purely vanity metrics. They are numbers that don't matter, because yes, it's nice to get that viral piece of content and get millions of views, but that doesn't mean those millions of people are definitely going to turn into customers of yours. What you're aiming for is growing an audience and growing content that the people who are watching it actually give a damn about you. And I've said this once and I'll say it again. You are far better off having 1,000 followers who actually care about what it is that you've got to say than having 1,000,000 followers of which only 1,000 actually care about what it is that you're going to say. Because the problem is the algorithms on all the different platforms look at the numbers behind the scenes. So it might be really nice for you to have 1,000,000 subscribers. That's great. And don't get me wrong, if you've not bought them, you've worked really hard to get there, I'm sure. However, if you've done follow for follow or sub for sub and you've got to 1,000,000 subscribers, yes, it's been hard work getting there, but the people who are following you don't give a damn about you or the content or the pain you remove or the value you've got to give. And that's what you want. You want a community who care. So if you've only got 1,000 subscribers and 900 of them interact with your content on a regular basis, you're in a really strong position because the algorithm looks at that and goes, wow, 90% of this person's audience actually care about them. But if you've got 1,000,000 subscribers and 1,000 people interacting with your content, the algorithm looks at that and goes, wow, this person content must really, really suck for them to have 1,000,000 people following them, which is a shit ton of people, and only 1,000 people actually care about the content they are putting out. So I want you to understand that you will fail on social media if all you are doing is chasing the numbers. Don't do follow for follow. Don't go liking for liking on business pages. Don't do sub for sub. Don't go following loads and loads of accounts on Twitter and on Instagram in the hope that they'll follow you back and then unfollowing them. Because you're creating a community of people who don't care about you, who don't care about what it is that you've got to say. You are so much better off if you can create an audience who actually care, who will like your content, who will share your content with their audience. Because it's such a powerful thing when the algorithm sees that happening. If they're commenting and they're liking and they're sharing your content, if it's on Instagram, they're putting it onto stories. If they're sharing it from YouTube to Facebook or to Twitter, if they're on Twitter and they're liking it and retweeting it, all those kind of things, the algorithm sees that and goes, wow, this person's content must be pretty good, actually, especially seeing as though they've only got 1,000 people following them and they've got 900 people actually interacting with the content. It must be pretty on point. In fact, you could have 1,000 people following you and only 100 people actually liking the content, and it will still consider that content to be well liked, because the fact of the matter is that the algorithm doesn't send out the content to everybody who's on your subscriber list in the first place. So stop worrying about the fact that you will fail on social media. Stop worrying about perfect content. Put out your value, keep doing it, keep putting that content out there, keep removing those pain points for people, but stop worrying about the fact that you're failing from the fact that you're only getting maybe 20 or 30 likes on an Instagram post and you've got 1,500 people follow your page. Just keep putting that content out, keep talking to that community that you do have. Get them interacting with you, and just hopefully that community will build and build and build. But stop worrying about the vanity metrics. Stop worrying about those numbers. Stop doing things like follow for follow and sub for sub. They really don't do your business or your brand any good whatsoever. Because like I say, it sees the big number of followers, the big number of subscribers, sees the small number of interactions, and just assumes your content's a load of crap and doesn't feed it to anybody new. Because if your audience who have subscribed to you aren't bothered to actually interact with it or watch it or care about it or like it or comment on it, why would anybody else? Because those people have followed you because they like you. Why would somebody who doesn't follow you care about what you've got to say if the people who follow you don't care? Hopefully, that has driven the message home just enough for you. Anyway, I am going to disappear. Thank you very much for watching today. As always, like I say, if you've got any questions about social media, about video content, please drop them into the comments on this live or on the recording or on the podcast. I'll do my best to answer them all as I possibly can do. And if we have to do some sort of one-to-one session or what have you, or some consultation, that's absolutely fine with me as well. We can have a chat about that as well. Anyway, right, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. If you're brand new, hit the subscribe button. Maybe even if you could do, maybe press that share button as well. You just move the mouse ever so slightly to one side, or you move your thumb and hit the share button so that your community can get some value from this content as well. And until Friday, I will say please continue to stay safe, because we are living in still some fairly crazy times, especially when you look at the photographs online of people going out and about. So I will see you on Friday. Until then, stay safe and have a good one. See you soon. Bye.